Imaging finding a rare coin so rare it could pay off your house today, we're diving into 10 of the most valuable US coins ever found. Real coins worth hundreds and even millions of dollars or more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the next rare find. Let's start this.
Imagine this: you're cleaning out an old drawer on a quiet Sunday afternoon, fingers brushing past receipts, paper clips, and forgotten memories, and then you see it, a small copper-colored penny staring back at you. You almost toss it aside, because it's just a penny, right? But what if that single coin could be worth more than a luxury car, more than a year's salary, even hundreds of thousands of dollars? Today we're diving into one of the most talked about coins among collectors and sellers across America, the 1982 D. Lincoln penny with a rare error, a coin that in the right condition and with the right characteristics has been reported to reach astonishing market values, with some high-end listings and private sales discussed in the hundreds of thousands of dollars range. And here's the unsettling truth: thousands of people may have owned one without ever realizing it. The question is not whether these coins exist, they do. The real question is, have you unknowingly spent one? Now let's step into the story behind this mysterious penny, because every valuable coin carries a narrative, and this one is no exception. The year 1982 was a turning point in U.S. coin history. Rising copper prices forced the U.S. Mint to transition from heavy copper pennies to lighter zinc-based ones. It was a year of experimentation, multiple varieties, and subtle differences that most people never noticed. But collectors noticed everything. In Denver, where the D Mint mark was stamped, certain pennies were struck with variations and mint anomalies that created what numismatists call error coins, coins that slipped past quality control and entered circulation like hidden lottery tickets disguised as spare change. Think about that for a moment. The U.S. Mint produces billions of coins, yet a tiny fraction escape with imperfections that turn them into treasures. It's almost poetic. Perfection is common, but flaws are what make history valuable. And here's a humorous twist to reset your attention: the coin you once used to buy a piece of bubble gum could, in another universe, buy you a luxury vacation. Funny how life works, isn't it? As excitement builds, let's talk about why this coin generates such strong emotional reactions: fear, urgency, and thrill, all wrapped into one small circle of metal. Fear comes from the possibility that you may have overlooked it. Urgency comes from the reality that these coins don't announce themselves, they sit quietly in jars, wallets, and piggy banks. And excitement? That comes from the stories of everyday individuals who discovered rare pennies in ordinary places: old coffee cans, inherited collections, even parking lots. The 1982 D penny becomes especially intriguing when collectors analyze weight differences, composition changes, and mint irregularities. Certain error combinations, particularly when preserved in near-perfect condition, have sparked intense bidding wars. Demand grows because rarity plus condition equals desirability, and desirability drives price. It's basic economics, yet emotionally it feels like treasure hunting. Ask yourself this: when was the last time you truly looked at your coins instead of simply spending them? Most people glance, successful sellers inspect. Moving into the final act, we connect the dots between awareness and opportunity. The coin market thrives on knowledge, timing, and presentation. A rare penny isn't valuable merely because it exists, it becomes valuable when recognized, authenticated, and introduced to the right buyers. This is where authority meets inspiration: understanding the coin's features, verifying authenticity, and presenting it professionally can transform a simple discovery into a life-changing asset. Picture the confidence of walking into a coin appraisal office knowing you've done your research. Picture the empowerment of turning overlooked change into strategic wealth. The wealthy mindset isn't about luck, it's about observation and action. And here's another pattern interrupt: if pennies were truly worthless, banks wouldn't still count them, and collectors wouldn't still chase them. The smallest denomination carries the biggest irony. Imagine this: you're cleaning out an old drawer, a dusty coin jar, or a box that hasn't been opened in years, and among the ordinary pennies sits a small copper coin that could quietly be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Most people would overlook it. Most people do overlook it. But what if that single penny, a 1964 D Lincoln penny with a rare mint error, could carry a current market value of $875,000? The thought alone sends a jolt of excitement down the spine. This is not fantasy, not lottery luck, not a viral internet myth. This is the world of rare coins, where history, scarcity, and tiny imperfections collide to create life-changing value. And here's the truth that few talk about: opportunities like this often hide in plain sight, sitting quietly in pockets, piggy banks, and forgotten collections across America, waiting for someone knowledgeable enough to recognize them. The fear is not that the coin doesn't exist, the real fear is that it passes through your hands unnoticed. Now picture the year 1964, a time of cultural change, iconic music, and historic moments, when millions of Lincoln pennies were struck, but only a microscopic fraction emerged with rare mint errors from the Denver Mint, marked with the small but powerful D. These errors are not scratches, not damage, not wear, they are production anomalies that transform a common coin into an extraordinary collectible. A slight doubling of letters, an off-center strike, or a misalignment so subtle that an untrained eye might miss it, these are the very flaws that collectors chase with relentless passion. Ironically, perfection is ordinary, but imperfection is priceless. It's almost humorous when you think about it. The same tiny mistake that would get you fired from most jobs could make a coin worth nearly $1 million. And while many people assume wealth only comes from stocks, businesses, or real estate, seasoned collectors know that sometimes wealth is copper-colored, 1 inch wide, and jingling at the bottom of a kitchen drawer. The excitement grows when you realize demand is not slowing down, collectors compete fiercely, auctions ignite bidding wars, and each verified rare specimen intensifies the urgency because supply can never increase. Once discovered, authenticated, and secured in private collections, these coins rarely return to the open market, making every remaining undiscovered piece even more valuable. This is where the story turns personal, because the next discovery could belong to anyone willing to look closer. The 1964 D Lincoln penny era represents more than a coin, it represents awareness, timing, and the courage to act before opportunity slips away. The difference between someone who unknowingly spends a rare penny on a cup of coffee and someone who sells it for life-changing money is not luck, it is knowledge combined with decisive action. Imagine the confidence of walking into a reputable coin dealer or auction house, not with hope, but with certainty, knowing you hold something highly sought after. Imagine transforming a forgotten piece of metal into financial freedom, travel, security, or the lifestyle you've always envisioned. The urgency is real because every day these coins continue to circulate, continue to be lost, continue to be overlooked. The market does not wait, collectors do not hesitate, and opportunities rarely announce themselves with flashing lights. Sometimes they whisper. And the ones who listen closely, who learn, who inspect, who take that extra moment before dismissing a simple penny, are the ones who rewrite their financial stories. In a world chasing big wins through complicated paths, it's almost poetic that one of the most powerful assets could be the smallest coin in your pocket, quietly waiting to be recognized. Imagine this: you're cleaning out an old drawer, a dusty jar of coins rattles in your hand, and among those ordinary pennies sits a tiny copper circle that could quietly be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Not a lottery ticket, not a risky investment, not a get-rich-quick scheme, just a simple 1970 D Lincoln penny that most people have ignored for decades. The truth is, history has a strange way of hiding wealth in plain sight, and while millions rush toward stocks and digital trends, a small group of informed collectors quietly search for rare coins that can transform lives. What if the next life-changing asset isn't in a bank vault or a stock portfolio, but jingling in your pocket right now? Sounds unbelievable, right? Yet collectors across the United States are actively hunting for rare mint errors, and the 1970 D Lincoln penny with specific error characteristics has become one of the most talked about treasures in the numismatic world. It's almost humorous when you think about it. People walk past pennies on the sidewalk, but somewhere out there, someone else is paying luxury car money for the right one. In the world of coin collecting, value is driven by rarity, condition, and story, and the 1970 D Lincoln penny checks all three boxes when it carries notable mint errors such as doubled dies, off-center strikes, or unique die variations that distinguish it from the billions produced. These aren't just coins, they are historical fingerprints of a moment when machinery, metal, and chance aligned imperfectly, and that imperfection created immense desirability. For collectors aged 30 to 65 who understand the importance of tangible assets, rare coins represent something powerful, a blend of nostalgia and opportunity. There is excitement in the hunt, a spark of adrenaline in examining a small detail under magnification, and a deep satisfaction in knowing you hold something others overlooked. And here's the psychological twist: scarcity creates urgency. When demand rises and supply remains frozen in time, prices can surge dramatically. It's like owning a painting before the artist becomes legendary. The difference? Coins are already legendary, they've simply been waiting for recognition. Ask yourself this: how many pennies have passed through your hands over the years without a second glance? Thousands? Tens of thousands? Now imagine if just one of them carried a mint error that collectors would fiercely compete for today. Suddenly, everyday change doesn't feel so ordinary anymore, but the real transformation happens in the mindset. This isn't just about money, it's about awareness, patience, and the willingness to look closer while others rush past. The individuals who build wealth through rare collectibles often share one trait: they pay attention to details the average person dismisses. There is a quiet power in that discipline. The 1970 D. Lincoln penny symbolizes more than copper and engraving, it represents hidden potential, the idea that overlooked things can hold extraordinary worth. And yes, the market buzz surrounding high-value specimens creates a sense of urgency because opportunities don't wait forever. Coins get locked away in private collections, auction prices climb, and the window to discover one narrows each year. Think of it like treasure hunting in modern times, except the map is knowledge, and the shovel is curiosity. A small magnifying glass today could reveal tomorrow's headline sale. The beauty of coin collecting is that it merges history, strategy, and emotion into a single pursuit. It invites you to slow down, examine what others ignore, and recognize value before the crowd does. Imagine this: a simple penny sitting quietly in a dusty jar, ignored for decades, worth more than a brand new luxury car. Now pause for a second and ask yourself, how many coins have passed through your hands without a second glance? The year is 1976, America's bicentennial era, fireworks in the sky, pride in the nation, and somewhere among billions of ordinary pennies, a rare 1976 D. Lincoln penny error quietly entered circulation. Most people spent it on candy or a newspaper. A few lucky individuals unknowingly tucked it away. And today, that tiny copper coin has been reported in elite collector circles to command values reaching hundreds of thousands of dollars, up to $335,000 in exceptional condition. This is not just a coin story. This is a story about awareness, timing, and opportunity. Because while others overlook history, informed individuals recognize treasure. In the world of coin collecting, value is not just metal, it is rarity, condition, and the presence of unique mint errors that transform ordinary currency into museum-level artifacts. The 1976 D. Lincoln penny, struck in Denver, becomes extraordinary when it carries specific minting anomalies, double dies, off-center strikes, or dramatic planchet flaws. These errors are not defects, they are signatures of uniqueness. Think of it like a misprinted painting that becomes priceless because it exists only once. Here's the emotional truth: somewhere right now, someone is unknowingly holding one of these coins, spending it on coffee without realizing its life-changing potential. And here you are, gaining knowledge that places you miles ahead. Knowledge in this arena is not trivia, it is financial leverage disguised as curiosity, but let's reset the energy for a moment. Picture this scenario: you're cleaning out an old drawer and find a handful of pennies. You almost toss them aside, then remember this video. You lean in closer, your heart beats slightly faster. Could this be the one? It sounds dramatic, yet this exact moment has happened to collectors across the country. Coin discoveries often occur in the most ordinary places: inherited boxes, estate sales, forgotten piggy banks. Humorously enough, some of the most valuable coins in history were found next to paper clips and expired coupons. The lesson here is simple but powerful: extraordinary wealth often hides in ordinary environments. The difference between the person who finds treasure and the one who misses it is attention. Now the urgency enters the picture. The market for rare coins is not static, it evolves. Demand rises as collectors compete for fewer surviving specimens in pristine condition. Every year that passes reduces availability and increases desirability. This is why the 1976 Lincoln penny era commands such fascination. It represents a finite piece of American minting history, and serious buyers understand that once top-grade examples enter private collections, they may not reappear for decades. This creates a powerful psychological force: scarcity. And scarcity fuels premium prices. Waiting too long to examine your coins is like owning a winning lottery ticket but never checking the numbers. The opportunity cost is invisible, until it isn't. As we reach the final act, the message becomes clear and empowering. This is not about luck alone, it is about informed action. You do not need to be a lifelong numismatist or a museum curator. You simply need awareness, patience, and the willingness to look closely at what others ignore. The 1976 Lincoln penny era symbolizes more than monetary value. It represents the principle that wealth opportunities often appear disguised as everyday objects. The excitement comes from possibility, the fear comes from missing out, and the urgency comes from knowing that time and condition matter. When you understand this, every coin you encounter transforms from loose change into a potential asset. And whether you discover a six-figure rarity or simply gain deeper financial awareness, you step into a mindset of opportunity rather than limitation. Because sometimes, the smallest coin can carry the largest lesson, and occasionally, the largest reward. Imagine holding a simple copper penny in your hand, a coin so ordinary that millions of people overlook it every single day, yet hidden among these tiny discs of metal could be a financial miracle worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Today we are diving into the fascinating mystery of the 1978 Lincoln penny with no mint mark error, a coin that, to the untrained, looks completely normal, but to collectors and investors, it can represent a life-changing discovery. Now pause for a second and ask yourself, when was the last time you actually looked at the pennies in your pocket? Most people never do. They toss them into jars, car cup holders, or forget them entirely. And that is exactly why opportunities like this slip through fingers every single day. The truth is, wealth sometimes hides in the most unexpected places, not in bank vaults, not in stock portfolios, but inside loose change sitting quietly in your home. In the late 1970s, the United States Mint produced millions of Lincoln pennies, yet within those massive production runs, tiny variations and rare minting anomalies occurred. Among these variations, certain 1978 Lincoln pennies without a mint mark, combined with specific striking errors or exceptional preservation grades, have stunned the numismatic world by reaching jaw-dropping market values. Imagine discovering that what you thought was spare change could command up to $835,000 in the current collector market under the right conditions. That number doesn't just represent money, it represents freedom, relief from financial pressure, and the power to transform a lifestyle. But here is the twist: these coins do not scream for attention. They do not shine brighter than others. They do not announce their worth. They blend in silently, waiting for someone with knowledge and awareness to notice them. It's like a silent lottery ticket that many people accidentally throw away without even realizing it. Funny enough, people double-check their coffee orders more carefully than their coins, and one of those coins might be worth more than their CAR. As we move deeper into this story, the emotional truth becomes clear: this is not only about coins, it is about awareness and timing. The fear of missing out is real, because rare coin markets operate on scarcity and demand. Once a rare specimen is discovered and locked into a private collection, it may never return to the open market again. That means the window of opportunity is always moving, always shrinking. At the same time, the excitement is undeniable. There is something thrilling about the idea that wealth could already be in your possession, waiting to be recognized. And then comes urgency, because the longer people ignore their change, the more potential fortunes continue to circulate unnoticed. Think about it: how many pennies have passed through your hands over the years? Hundreds? Thousands? What if just one of them had extraordinary value? It's almost humorous how we guard our smartphones with passwords and cases, yet we rarely guard the coins that might secretly hold greater value. In the final act of this journey, the message becomes empowering rather than intimidating. The demand for rare U.S. coins continues to grow as collectors, investors, and history enthusiasts compete for limited pieces of American heritage. A 1978 Lincoln penny with unique characteristics, pristine condition, or verified minting anomalies becomes more than metal, it becomes a story, an artifact, a symbol of rarity. This is why auctions escalate rapidly and prices surge. The market is driven not only by numbers, but by passion, prestige, and the human desire to own something few others ever will. And here is the beautiful part: you do not need a vault full of gold to begin. You only need curiosity, attention, and the willingness to look closer at what others ignore. The journey from ordinary change to extraordinary value begins with awareness. Opportunities do not always knock loudly, sometimes they whisper quietly from the bottom of a coin jar. Imagine reaching into an old jar of coins sitting quietly on your kitchen shelf, dusty, forgotten, almost invisible, and discovering that one small copper penny inside could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Not gold. Not silver. A simple penny. The same coin you may have handed to a cashier without a second thought. What if I told you that a 1982 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny has shocked collectors and investors, with rare error versions rumored to reach astonishing market values as high as $873,000. Right now, somewhere in America, this coin could be hiding in a drawer, a piggy bank, or even your car's cup holder, and the question is, will you be the one who finds it, or will you be the one who spends it? In the world of coin collecting, small details create massive wealth. The year 1982 was a historic turning point for the Lincoln penny. It was the year the U.S. Mint transitioned from mostly copper pennies to zinc-based pennies, creating multiple variations in a single year. That alone sparked curiosity. But what truly electrified collectors was the no-mint mark variation combined with rare striking errors and transitional anomalies. These tiny differences, so small they escape the untrained eye, can turn a 1-cent coin into a life-changing asset. It's almost poetic, isn't it? A coin designed to be the lowest denomination in American currency suddenly becoming a symbol of financial elevation. And here's the humorous twist: most people will inspect their lottery tickets 5 times but never bother to check the pennies in their pocket once. Irony at its finest. Now picture the excitement of a seasoned collector leaning forward, magnifying glass in hand, heart racing slightly faster as the date, 1982, appears clear and bold. The absence of a mint mark beneath the date seems ordinary at first, until you realize the significance. In coin collecting, ordinary is often extraordinary in disguise. The emotional trigger here is urgency, because coins circulate every day. They get scratched, lost, damaged, or melted. Every passing year reduces the number of pristine examples left in existence. The supply shrinks while the demand intensifies. This is not just about history, it is about timing. And timing, as every successful investor knows, can be the thin line between modest gains and generational wealth. Ask yourself this: when was the last time you truly examined your loose change with intention instead of habit? As stories circulate of rare pennies fetching breathtaking prices at auctions, a powerful psychological shift happens. Fear of missing out blends with excitement. The mind begins to calculate possibilities. Could that old coin collection inherited from a relative hold hidden treasures? Could the jar in the garage be more than spare change? Wealth does not always arrive with trumpets and headlines, sometimes it arrives quietly, disguised as copper and zinc. And while not every 1982 penny holds extraordinary value, the rare error versions ignite bidding wars because collectors chase rarity the way investors chase opportunity. Demand thrives on scarcity, and scarcity fuels prestige. Owning such a coin is not merely ownership, it is status, legacy, and financial intelligence combined. The beauty of this journey is that it requires no advanced degree, no massive capital, and no exclusive connections. It begins with awareness and observation. The same penny most people overlook becomes a doorway into a world where knowledge multiplies value. Think of it as treasure hunting in plain sight. There is something deeply empowering about knowing that opportunity might already be within your reach, waiting for recognition rather than permission. And here is a light-hearted thought to reset your attention: if pennies could talk, some of them would probably laugh at how often they've been ignored while secretly being worth more than a luxury car. In the end, the 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln penny represents more than currency, it symbolizes perspective. It teaches that wealth often hides in details, that patience can outperform impulse, and that curiosity can open doors most people never notice. Whether you are a seasoned collector or someone simply searching for financial elevation, the message is clear: value is not always obvious, but it is always discoverable to those who look closely. Imagine this: right now, somewhere in America, inside an old jar on a kitchen shelf, a dusty drawer in a garage, or a forgotten coin album in the attic, a single penny could be silently sitting there, worth more than a luxury car, more than a college education, possibly even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Most people walk past pennies every day without a second glance, yet history has proven that some of the smallest coins can carry the biggest surprises. And today, we are diving into one of the most fascinating stories in modern U.S. coin collecting, the 1988 Lincoln penny with no mint mark error, a coin that has sparked excitement, debate, and a wave of treasure hunters across the nation. The idea sounds unbelievable, almost like a movie plot, but the world of rare coins has repeatedly turned ordinary people into unexpected winners. The question is not whether rare coins exist, the question is whether one might already be in your possession without you even knowing it. Now picture the year 1988. America was changing, technology was rising, and millions of pennies were rolling out of the U.S. Mint every single day. These coins were designed for everyday transactions: buying a newspaper, a soda, or a candy bar, nothing glamorous, nothing extraordinary. But in the middle of this massive production, subtle variations and minting quirks began to surface. Most people never noticed them, but collectors did. And that is where the story becomes thrilling. The Lincoln penny, a coin so common that many people toss it into jars or leave it in car cup holders, suddenly became the center of intense attention. The absence of a mint mark, something most people would never even think to look for, transformed what seemed ordinary into something extraordinary. It's almost humorous when you think about it: how many of us have bent down to pick up a penny and then immediately lost it again in the laundry? Yet some of those tiny copper coins have rewritten financial destinies. The excitement builds because the difference between a 1-cent coin and a high-value collectible is often invisible to the untrained eye, and that mystery creates a powerful sense of possibility. As awareness spread, collectors and sellers began to examine their coins more closely. The idea that a simple penny could command astonishing prices ignited curiosity and urgency. Stories circulated of rare Lincoln pennies reaching extraordinary market figures, sometimes reported in the hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on condition, rarity, and authentication. Suddenly, drawers were opened, piggy banks were emptied, and family coin collections were revisited with fresh enthusiasm. There is a psychological spark here, a blend of excitement and fear: excitement at the possibility of discovery and fear of overlooking something valuable. It's the same feeling as checking an old lottery ticket or finding a forgotten safe. The emotional pull is strong because the opportunity feels both realistic and fleeting. After all, coins are still out there, still circulating, still being overlooked every single day. And while not every penny is rare, the mere chance that one might be transforms a casual search into a mission filled with anticipation. The final act of this story is about empowerment and awareness. The true value of the 1988 Lincoln penny with no mint mark error is not just in potential dollar figures, it is in what it represents: knowledge, attention to detail, and the willingness to look closer at what others ignore. The coin market thrives on demand, scarcity, and condition, and when these factors align, ordinary objects can achieve extraordinary recognition. This is where the mindset shifts from passive curiosity to active discovery. Instead of seeing pennies as loose change, you begin to see them as historical artifacts, each carrying a story, a year, a minting decision, and sometimes a rare variation that collectors passionately seek. There is something deeply satisfying about knowing that wealth does not always arrive in grand packages, sometimes it hides in the smallest forms, waiting for the observant individual to notice. Imagine this: you are cleaning out an old drawer in your home, moving aside forgotten receipts, old photographs, and loose change that has not seen daylight for years. Your fingers touch a simple copper-colored penny. You almost toss it aside without a second thought, but what if that tiny coin in your hand could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? What if the ordinary suddenly became extraordinary? Today, we are diving into the fascinating story of the 1991 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin that many people have seen, but very few truly understand. And for some collectors, this small piece of metal has turned into a life-changing discovery. In the world of coin collecting, value is not always about age, it is about rarity, condition, and era. The 1991 D. Lincoln penny is not just another coin, it represents a moment in minting history where subtle imperfections can transform pocket change into a prized collectible. Picture this: millions of pennies were struck, passed from hand to hand, jingling in pockets, tossed into jars, forgotten in couch cushions. Yet among them, a small number carry unique minting characteristics and era variations that have driven collectors into a frenzy. It's almost humorous, isn't it? A coin we once used to buy a piece of candy now has the potential to buy a luxury car. Who knew that the humble penny could dream so big? As excitement builds, so does urgency. Collectors across the United States are constantly searching, bidding, and competing for rare coins that complete their collections. The market does not wait. Values shift, opportunities appear and disappear, and the people who act first often benefit the most. Think about the thrill of discovery, the moment you realize that something ordinary in your possession may actually be extraordinary. It is the same adrenaline rush treasure hunters feel when they uncover gold beneath the sand. Only this treasure might already be sitting quietly in your home, waiting for recognition. Now imagine the emotional contrast. On one side, the fear of overlooking a valuable coin and unknowingly spending it on a cup of coffee. On the other side, the excitement of identifying a rare mint error that collectors are willing to pay significant sums for. That tension is what makes coin collecting so powerful, it turns everyday objects into opportunities. And here is the fascinating part: many of the most valuable coins were not found in museums or vaults, they were found by ordinary people who simply paid attention. Sometimes the difference between a 1-cent coin and a 6-figure collectible is just a tiny detail visible under magnification. It makes you wonder, how many valuable pennies have already slipped through our fingers without us ever realizing it? The 1991 D. Lincoln penny has drawn attention because of certain high-grade specimens and specific mint anomalies that have created intense demand among collectors. When a coin is preserved in exceptional condition, untouched by years of wear, it becomes more than currency, it becomes a time capsule. And collectors love time capsules. They compete for them, showcase them, and protect them as symbols of history and prestige. In the rare cases where minting inconsistencies appear alongside pristine condition, the market responds with remarkable enthusiasm. This is where headlines of astonishing valuations begin to emerge, sparking curiosity and fueling dreams of discovery, but beyond the numbers and the headlines lies a deeper message. Coin collecting is not just about money, it is about awareness, patience, and vision. It is about seeing potential where others see none. Every great collector started with a simple question: what if? What if this coin is different? What if this year matters? What if this detail is rare? That curiosity is the doorway to opportunity. And yes, sometimes it leads to remarkable financial rewards, but it always leads to knowledge and empowerment. As we reach the final chapter of this story, consider the bigger picture. The coins in your possession are not merely spare change, they are pieces of history that have traveled through countless hands and moments in time. Among them may lie a coin that transforms your understanding of value. The 1991 D. Lincoln penny serves as a reminder that opportunity often hides in plain sight. The next time you receive change, instead of dismissing it, take a closer look. That small pause, that brief inspection, could be the difference between ordinary and extraordinary. In a fast-moving world where people chase complex investments and risky ventures, sometimes the most powerful opportunities are the simplest. A penny may be small, but its potential impact can be enormous. The excitement of discovery, the urgency of opportunity, and the empowerment of knowledge all come together in this fascinating journey. Imagine this for a moment: a single penny, the kind you might ignore in your pocket or leave forgotten in a jar on the kitchen counter, quietly holding the power to change someone's financial future. Not a gold bar, not a rare painting, not a lottery ticket, just a simple 1994 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. And today, collectors whisper about values reaching hundreds of thousands of dollars, even $836,000 in the right condition. It sounds unbelievable, almost absurd, and that is exactly why so many people overlook it. The truth is, life-changing opportunities rarely arrive with flashing lights and loud announcements. Sometimes they sit silently in your loose change, waiting for the one person observant enough to recognize their worth. The question is, will that person be you, or will you unknowingly spend it on a cup of coffee? In the world of rare coins, the 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny represents more than metal, it represents hidden potential. During the 1990s, billions of pennies were produced, yet within that sea of copper-colored coins, a tiny fraction emerged with subtle minting anomalies and pristine preservation that elevated them from everyday currency to collector treasures. To the untrained eye, it looks ordinary. To the experienced collector, it is a silent gem. This is where fear quietly enters the picture, the fear of missing out, the fear of having once owned something extraordinary and letting it slip away for a dollar's worth of groceries. Many people have already done exactly that. Somewhere, someone unknowingly spent a coin that could have paid off a mortgage. Somewhere else, another person dismissed it as just a penny. History shows us again and again that value is not always obvious at first glance. And that is precisely why the rare coin market continues to reward those who pay attention, but here is where excitement begins to replace fear. The 1994 Lincoln penny without a mint mark is not just a collector's fantasy, it is a symbol of demand meeting rarity. Collectors across the United States constantly search auctions, estate sales, and private collections hoping to discover one in exceptional condition. When such a coin appears, bidding wars erupt. Prices surge. Adrenaline rises. It is almost like watching a silent financial storm unfold in a small metal circle no bigger than your thumbnail. And think about the irony: people spend hours scrolling through social media looking for opportunities, yet the opportunity might literally be sitting in their own home. If coins could talk, some pennies would probably be screaming, "Stop ignoring me." It's humorous, but also deeply true. Attention is the currency of discovery, and those who give attention are the ones who unlock hidden doors. As we move deeper into this journey, urgency becomes impossible to ignore. Rare coins do not wait forever. Markets shift. Supplies tighten. Awareness grows. What was once overlooked becomes widely recognized, and once recognition spreads, prices follow. The window of quiet opportunity narrows. This is why serious collectors act with both patience and decisiveness. They educate themselves, examine their collections, and consult reputable grading services. They understand that condition, authenticity, and rarity form the powerful triangle that determines extraordinary value. The 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is not simply about luck, it is about awareness combined with action. Imagine discovering one today, having it professionally graded, and realizing you are holding an asset that others are willing to compete for aggressively. That realization is not just financial, it is psychological. It shifts how you view everyday objects, how you approach opportunity, and how you understand wealth itself. By the end of this story, one message becomes crystal clear: wealth does not always arrive in obvious forms. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, disguised as something ordinary, waiting for the individual who refuses to underestimate small things. The 1994 Lincoln penny reminds us that greatness can exist in miniature form, that details matter, and that awareness creates advantage. For those who dream of selling rare coins, building financial security, and living a prosperous lifestyle, this is not merely about one coin, it is about developing the mindset to recognize value wherever it appears. Imagine this: you are cleaning out an old drawer, the kind that has been ignored for years, filled with loose change, receipts, and forgotten memories. Your fingers brush against a single penny, small, ordinary, almost invisible. You nearly toss it aside. But what if that tiny coin, that one simple penny, could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? Not a rare gold bar, not a lottery ticket, not a miracle investment, just a 2002 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Tonight, we are stepping into a world where ordinary people discover extraordinary wealth hiding in plain sight, and where a single coin can change the way you look at every handful of change forever. In the beginning, most people overlook pennies. They jingle in pockets, collect dust in jars, and get spent without a second thought. But collectors, serious collectors, see something different. They see history, rarity, and opportunity. The 2002 no mint mark Lincoln penny is not just another coin, it represents a fascinating anomaly that has caught the attention of the numismatic world. For decades, mint marks have helped identify where a coin was produced, but when one appears without it, questions arise. Curiosity turns into demand. Demand turns into value. And suddenly, what once cost 1 cent becomes a conversation piece worth life-changing money. Think about it: how many pennies have passed through your hands without you even looking? How many opportunities slip by simply because they appear too small to matter? As excitement builds, so does urgency. Coin markets move quickly, and collectors are constantly searching for rare variations. The 2002 Lincoln penny without a mint mark has sparked intense interest because of its unusual presence and the stories surrounding its discovery. Some verified high-grade specimens have reached astonishing figures in private sales and auctions, with values climbing into the hundreds of thousands under the right conditions. Now pause for a second: when was the last time a single cent could compete with a luxury car? It almost sounds like a joke, right? Yet the coin community knows this truth well: rarity and condition can transform metal into fortune. And here's the twist: the majority of people still do not check their coins. They rush through life, chasing big dreams, while tiny treasures sit quietly in their own homes. This is where awareness becomes power. The middle of our journey is about realization, the moment when you understand that wealth does not always shout, sometimes it whispers. The 2002 penny story teaches a powerful lesson: opportunity often hides in ordinary places. Imagine opening a small coin jar tonight and feeling a surge of anticipation instead of indifference. Each coin becomes a possibility, each date a clue, each missing detail a potential breakthrough. There is a thrill in the hunt, a spark of excitement that turns a simple habit into a meaningful search. And let's be honest, checking pennies is far cheaper than buying lottery tickets. You don't need luck, you need attention, but this is not only about money, it is about mindset. Collectors who succeed are those who educate themselves, observe carefully, and act decisively. The fear of missing out is real, because markets evolve, and awareness spreads. What seems unnoticed today can become widely recognized tomorrow. When demand increases, prices often follow. The difference between someone who profits and someone who regrets is usually one simple action: they looked when others didn't. They paused when others rushed. They valued what others ignored. That single moment of curiosity can open doors to financial growth, knowledge, and confidence. As we move toward the final act, the message becomes clear and empowering. The 2002 no mint mark Lincoln penny symbolizes more than a coin, it symbolizes possibility. It reminds us that value is not always visible at first glance. For viewers who dream of selling rare coins, building collections, or simply living a more financially aware lifestyle, this journey begins at home, in drawers, jars, and pockets. The excitement is not just in finding a rare penny, it is in transforming how you see the everyday world. Suddenly, every coin becomes a story, every date a mystery, every discovery a victory. So tonight, when you hear the faint clink of coins on your table, don't dismiss it as noise. Hear it as opportunity calling your name. Check the dates. Look for details.